Hello everyone, welcome to another Fight of the Night review. This is for the Fight of the Night, the co-main event between Vicente Luque and Mike Perry in Montevideo, Uruguay at the Antel Arena, the first time the UFC has ever been to Uruguay. Before I do start the review off, I want to say, some of you might have noticed that I did stream resolutions per minute Friday night, this Friday just gone. The reason for that was because, last night was NXT TakeOver Toronto 2. I'm calling it Toronto 2 even though it's just called Toronto, but it's technically the second NXT TakeOver in Toronto. And also because we were supposed to be streaming CWL. But, due to complications, that hasn't happened. However, I'm proud to announce that part of the reason was because they couldn't really get the commentary done on time because there was some sort of time constraint. See, we have a guy who lives in the UK, and there's another guy who would have done the commentary with him. He lives in Australia, so the time difference is a bit weird. However, since I also live in the UK, I'll be teaming with this other UK person, Scott Sykes, or Reback, and I'll be doing commentary with them on tonight's show, the first CWL show since Endgame, the first one of Season 3. I'm really excited. My character's name will be Gavin Grayson, because it spells GG, good game. He's going to be a face commentator, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can bring to the table there. And also, another part of the reason I didn't stream resolutions per minute on Friday. Well, I did stream on Friday. I didn't stream it last night because of Toronto, and won't stream it tonight because, for one thing, it's already been done. And even if it weren't done, I wouldn't have done it tonight anyway because of SummerSlam. So I didn't really want to sort of conflict with that. Also, my cat's here. Also, I should stop rambling because this fight between Vicente Luque and Mike Perry was really good. Of course it was. Vicente Luque, the Silent Assassin, Mike Platinum Perry. Two of the best. Not too far from each other in age. I think they were both born in 1991, but I think Mike Perry's like a month or two older than Luque is. So, yeah, Luque won by split decision, and it was quite close. Round one was pretty much all stand-up. Vicente Luque was laying some really, really good jabs, but Mike Perry was coming in with big shots, and every now and then they would counter each other really well. There was a moment within the first round where Luque's face was sort of a bit messed up. I think he had a cut or something, because there was a bit of blood around his nose area. Not as bad as Mike's nose later on in the fight, but we'll get to that. But yeah, there was that, and Luque managed to cut open. He managed to open cuts on both sides of Mike Perry's eyes, like one there and one there, and that. Luckily, it was away from the eyes, because if it had seeped into the eyes, that would have made vision very blurry, and that would have made the fight not as interesting, I think. Although, if it were in his eyes and he still kept going because he's Mike Perry, he would do that. He's a hard dude to put down. That'd be pretty cool. But that's not what happened, and we got we got the fight we got, and the fight we got was really good. So first round was pretty much all stand up. I do slightly give the edge in favor to Luque. Although, as the round was closing, Mike Perry did land some really good combo shots, but Luque managed to roll with him. A couple of them caught him, but he managed to roll with him, land some good counter shots against Perry. Caught him in a clinch and got a good knee on him. I think he did that in all the rounds, I don't fully remember. And he managed to sort of get Mike Perry back against he managed to reverse it and get it away from the cage. And it was a pretty good way to close the first round. It did look like Luque was going to touch gloves with Mike Perry, or he turned around before that, so that didn't happen, because Mike Perry doesn't really do respect, as we'll discuss when we get to round 3. Round 2, though. This was definitely more Mike Perry's round. He did start coming in a bit more with his shots. He was starting to open them up with good leg kicks as well. However, there was a moment around, I think it was round 2, where Luque did land a really good counter high knee, so that was pretty important of that. So that was another important moment for Luque. He did land some good shots in round 2, but I definitely give the majority of round 2 to Mike Perry, because he kept coming forward a bit more. Luque, he was still countering, especially with his own leg kicks, but Mike Perry had definitely weakened Luque with his leg kicks. And there was I think there was a bit of clinch work, but Luque managed to slip out of it. Actually, no, the counter knee was in round 1. I just remembered. Yeah, he landed the counter knee in round 1. That was probably the biggest shot of the round. And then Mike Perry sort of ducked for something, and then Luque went to throw up another knee, but Mike Perry managed to stay away from it, so that was really cool. But yeah, round 2, as I've discussed, once again, mostly a really good stand-up war. Mike Perry did start getting his nose a bit damaged. as he walked back to his corner. He definitely won the round, I think, though, in my opinion. He was going for a bit more wrestling as well to try and sort of sway it more in his favour. Round 3 was just really, really awesome. Like, a lot of really big moments as there have been throughout the fight. It wasn't super, like, bam, 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 bam. It was a lot faster than that. It did result in some pretty interesting stuff, because this is where we started to see more of the clinching groundwork. Mike Perry did have Vicente Luque against the cage and did clinch him, but the crowd started to boo, and I will admit, as much as I enjoyed this fight, okay, I can't sort of excuse it. The crowd wasn't as super into it as I thought they'd be. They did still applaud when they needed to, but they weren't like super duper cheery. I think them booing this particular moment was probably the biggest reaction they had in the fight. And this was the co-main event of the card. This was pretty well in, but I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because it was the first time they've been to Uruguay. So we don't really know how that crowd is going to react to mixed martial arts in general. Well, it's the first time UFC has been there. I don't know if other companies have been there to host MMA events. UFC could very well be the first. I have no idea. However, back to round 3 with Mike Perry and Vicente Luque. Back to the clinch. Mike Perry heard that the crowd was in because he was just holding Luque against the cage, and because he was holding Luque, he just like lifted one of his hands and just went, to the crowd, and actually laughed. And I laughed a bit as well because Mike Perry is a very funny dude. That did get a good reaction out of me. I thought that was pretty cool. They did hold on for a bit longer, and then the referee, who was Eduardo Herdy, I think it was, he separated them, and interestingly enough, he separated them and like brought them to the middle of the octagon to fight in the middle, which is normally not what a referee does when that situation with the fighters holding each other against the cage happens. He normally splits them or tries to warn them to be a bit more active. He didn't really seem to do that. He just split them and set them back in the middle. I was like, no, put them back where they were and see if they can actually do something a bit more with it. Doesn't matter though, because after he separated them, they did get back to the cage eventually. Luque was a bit backed away by Perry and his big shots, and he eventually landed some good shots of his own, especially to Mike Perry's nose. There's some really good nose stuff. Really good nose stuff. Like that even makes sense. And then Mike had Luque against the cage, but Luque managed to slip down and managed to catch Mike Perry in the guillotine choke. And it was very, very, very close to being over, I think. Obviously it ended a split decision with Luque winning, but it was, even if I didn't know that, I would have definitely assumed that Luque would have won by submission with a really, really great guillotine choke. He almost had it too, but because of the amount of blood that accumulated on Mike Perry's face, especially from his nose, because it had been busted up a lot in round 3, he used the blood to sort of slip out from the grip, and they both ended the fight standing. And a good standing ovation from the crowd. I enjoyed this fight. Normally I don't really like fights that don't have a super huge crowd reaction, but the right person won, I think. Neither man looked terrible. Two extremely talented young fighters having an extremely good fight. That's exactly everything I wanted. This ticked all the right boxes for me. And basically, I don't grade fights, I'm just going to tell you if I liked them, and I really did like this one. I'm not even going to throw the caveats of the Uruguayan crowd, because it's the first time they've really seen this. Even if it was the second to last fight on the card as it was being aired live. Maybe they'll be a bit more receptive to it if UFC go to Uruguay again in the future. But for what happened, it was really enjoyable. It might make my top 10 of the year because it was really awesome. That's really all I have to say, to be honest. Can't really think of anything else. Really enjoyable fight, right person won. A bit of questionable refereeing in round 3, but I guess he wanted to make the fight a bit more exciting. Anyway, I'll see you all. Well, I won't see you all, but you'll probably hear my voice tonight for CWL Season 3, Episode 1. And I will hopefully see you in the week for for another vocal cover. I'm very, very, very much hoping to actually get it done this week, because I've got no more backtracking to do until next season. So, yeah, I'll see you all for that, or for whatever the hell is next, and obviously more PBW streams along the way too. So as always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye bye.